Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Last time, we analyzed the survey writing task and its features. In this lesson, we'll be focusing on brainstorming and how you can come up with great ideas to use in your response. A lot of students underestimate the importance of brainstorming and planning, but you'll see today how spending only a few minutes before you start writing can save you a great deal of time and effort further down the road. So let's jump right to it. Hey guys, and welcome back to my CELPIP survey writing masterclass. Last session, I gave you an introduction to the task and some common mistakes which you should try to avoid. In this video, we'll be taking a closer look at the process of brainstorming. Here, I'll be teaching you how to wrap up your ideas in just a few minutes, so when you actually start writing, you won't have to worry so much about what you want to say, and instead, you can focus on the formal aspects of your writing, such as building coherence and cohesion, grammar, and vocabulary. But first, you need to decide which of the two options you're going to select. Some students tend to jump on a choice without really thinking about it in advance. They read the question and pick the first choice that sounds good to them. The problem with this strategy is you might end up regretting your choice, either because you don't have enough ideas to support your choice, or perhaps it's too difficult for you to support one of your ideas because you lack some essential vocabulary or can't come up with good examples. If you first take a moment to write down your thoughts and ideas for each of the provided options, then you'll know you have enough to say and you won't be regretting your choice further down the line. So remember, spending only a few short minutes putting your ideas down and reviewing them will possibly save you a lot of time spent thinking mid-sentence or scrambling for supporting details. Also note that you shouldn't always go with the choice for which you have the most number of ideas. You basically need at least two reasons or two main ideas for your choice. So instead of going with the side with more ideas, I want you to pick the choice for which you can best explain and elaborate those main ideas and provide better examples for them. You may even disagree with this choice in real life, but as far as CELPIP writing is concerned, it's the best choice for you because it'll result in the best possible essay. My students sometimes ask me where they can brainstorm their ideas and where they can write everything down. The good news is you'll be given scrap paper on the day of your test, so you can jot down your ideas over there. You can also write your notes on the computer and later replace those ideas with your final paragraphs. Okay, now it's time for us to do a sample. Let's take the first topic from last session. I'll read it for you again. So if you recall, it was a work lunch survey. You work for a company and your employer is considering serving lunch to employees in the office at a small discounted fee. A survey has been sent out to staff for their opinion. Now, the two choices were, choice A, management should offer prepackaged lunch to all staff, and choice B, offering prepackaged lunch to employees is not a good idea. Okay, so now we want to write down any ideas that pop into our heads when we think about each of these choices. Let's start with choice A. Okay, so what benefits can I think of? Well, for starters, it can help save a lot of money. These lunches are offered at a discounted price, right? So employees can save their money instead of spending it on cafeteria lunches or meals at a local restaurant. It's okay. So what else? We can also argue that it can save a lot of time too. Employees can have their prepackaged lunches at their desks or cubicles without needing to leave the building. So it also helps to save time in this way. Okay, so now what about the other choice? What would be the problems of offering prepackaged lunches? Well, we could argue that people have different tastes and they like different things for lunch. It's likely that many employees would end up feeling dissatisfied or unhappy with the meals they are served. Basically, you can't keep everyone happy, right? Notice that I'm approaching the task from different perspectives. And each of these perspectives helps me to generate new ideas. For instance, we've looked at the issue from an economic perspective, time and money, and a psychological perspective, different tastes in food. Now, let's look at the topic from a health perspective. If you think about it carefully, you'll see that allergies can be mentioned as a possible problem with prepackaged lunches. What if the food contains ingredients that might cause allergic reactions? It's very difficult to avoid them all. So, there you go. We just came up with a new idea simply by looking at the topic from a different perspective. So remember, on your test day, if you feel you're short of ideas, try shifting your perspective and looking at the topic from a social, a political, an environmental, a psychological, educational, and other such angles. Each of these perspectives can really help you to generate great ideas. Okay, now let's turn to the second topic. The school board in your town has proposed a change to the students' curriculum. They have sent out a survey to all residents to see whether they agree with this change. And the two options are, option A, the school should continue to focus on traditional subjects such as history, art, and literature, and option B, the revised curriculum should focus on teaching skills that help students to find a job. Now, if you recall from the previous lesson, we made an important distinction between apples and oranges topics. The previous topic that we just covered was apples and apples, because the two options were exact opposites. Here we have an apples and oranges topic, because as you can see, the two options are sort of independent, and it's also possible to consider other options. So basically, rejecting one of the options doesn't necessarily mean supporting the other one. So, does this make any difference in the way we brainstorm our ideas? Let's see. Let's start with option A. History, art, and literature. What are some of the reasons to keep these subjects in the curriculum? Well, they're essential for a well-rounded education, meaning you'll never be a complete human being if you only focus on technical aspects of your occupation. History, art, and literature build character. They deepen our understanding of the world, and so they're quite essential to any decent education. Notice that I'm not writing all of this down. Instead, I only write down a word or phrase that will remind me of what I want to say and the main point that I want to make. Okay, what other reason can I come up with for supporting the first opinion? Well, I could argue that history, art, and literature are also helpful for finding a job. There are plenty of jobs that require a solid understanding of these subjects, so it's quite simplistic to think that only technical skills are required for finding a job. This can serve as my second main idea for this first option. Okay, now on to the second option. Why would it be best to only focus on subjects that can help students find a better job? Well, For starters, this would foster equality because this way, all students will have a chance to prepare for a future job, regardless of whether or not they attend college. So, from a social perspective, we can argue that this option would result in a relatively more egalitarian society where people are given equal opportunities. Now, for my second reason, I'm going to argue that it's not always possible to identify subjects that are useful for a future career. But hold on, weren't we supposed to support the choices? This one sounds like a problem with the second option. We can't always identify which subjects are useful because jobs have different requirements, and the demand for jobs in the market tends to shift from time to time. And this is where we have a difference between apples and oranges topics. You see, in the previous topic, we came up with ideas supporting each of the two options. Any idea that rejected one side obviously supported the other. It was taken for granted. But with apples and oranges questions, that's not always the case. Supporting one side doesn't always mean rejecting the other. So, in order to make a solid argument, it would be great to reject the other option in addition to supporting our own. That's why I'm asking you to write down both ideas that can support your side as well as those that can reject the other side. In a future lesson, I'll show you exactly how to use these ideas in different paragraphs of your writing. Okay, so just a few quick reminders. Keep in mind that you should not spend more than 2 to 3 minutes on brainstorming ideas. You're aiming for 2 ideas for each of the options, so don't be too fussy. Don't write full sentences and try to reduce your ideas and summarize them in a short word or phrase that'll help you recall what it is you want to say. Look at the topic from different perspectives and even imagine yourself in that situation, making a similar choice in real life. In other words, relate the topic to your own life and you'll find yourself coming up with great ideas. All right, that's it, guys. I hope you found this lesson useful. For this lesson's task, I want you to share some ideas on these topics we've reviewed here. You can leave your answers in the chat box below. Let me know if I missed any great ideas that could have been included. In the next session of this tutorial, we will look at the process of planning your essay and how you should be organizing your paragraphs. So, catch you all in the next one.